and welcome to Con Air, the podcast. I am Mark Clever Hoffmeyer.
And I'm Jay. No, it's clever. Welcome you aboard Con Air, the podcast, chapter 33. On this show, Mark and I fly our way through Con Air, scene by scene.
How's that a response? He just shot it. No, that's clever.
We'll get to him.
How's that?
I didn't know that was going to be your intro. I hoped that was going to be your intro so I could then retaliate. So that worked out nicely. Anyway, this is chapter 33 of Con Air. What happens in chapter 33 of Con Air? Well, the jailbird flies away from Lerner Airfield whilst the cons on board dance to Sweet Home Alabama. In the hold, Diamond Dog finds Casey's letter to her father and gives it to Cyrus, who aims to weed out the traitor on the plane by threatening to shoot Guard Bishop. ABO confesses and literally takes the bullet for Poe as Cyrus reads the letter and Malloy's helicopter approaches from behind. So we need a guest to help us talk about this chapter. So this is our second, but not last, contributor from Fresh to Sunday joining us today. Also from Yes Please Vintage is Lindsay Street. Lindsay, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thrilled to have you on board today.
The FTS crew representing.
Hell yeah.
What do you mean by today?
We've had Nick on and Jess will be on at some point.
Did you record multiple today?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I get you now. Have I been on this podcast before?
You've been on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast, but not Con Air, the podcast. So you joined us.
I had a real moment because I rewatched the movie and I rewatched it fairly recently and I was like, did I do prep for this podcast and not go on it? Like, is that a real thing that happened?
This is the earliest we've had you scheduled. So
okay, all right.
We would have loved to have had you on an earlier chapter. So
I swore I was gonna come on and talk about the scene with the kid, but I don't know. I had like a whole brain moment that I was like, did I do this? Or
you
no?
do get the final scene with the kid. She's in this moment. We get a brief glimpse of this child. So let's start with this child.
Yeah.
Do you think this child is real? What's your theories here?
Yeah, is she fake? Is it a figment of Garland Green's imagination? Is she a real child that's just running feral in this trailer park? Did she survive the cartel? Like, who is this kid?
What do you think?
You guys are busting this wide open because I did not even consider that for a moment, and that's pretty great. Yeah, because when this kid shows up, it's so perplexing. But so many moments are perplexing in this film that I don't think it's necessarily out of character that this random child is roaming the desert.
Okay, so my pet theory is that this is all in Garland Green's head. This is the first murder that he committed was this little girl in his childhood trailer park that he grew up in.
So he just gets the doll, he just sees a doll.
He finds a doll and that snaps him back to this memory of his first childhood kill, and he relives out that moment where he would have killed her, and this time he doesn't kill her, which makes it okay that he's free at the end.
Wow.
Roaming the streets.
Fair enough.
This is all backpedaling from, I didn't want this to be a happy ending and he's not on some murder spree. How can we make that happen?
This is a real, woof moment, because when you see her running out, you're like, oh, okay, I can enjoy this movie.
Because the last we saw was the gently rocking broken cup.
If we never see this girl again, the movie is done. I'm just gonna be like, he just murdered a child, in the middle of a scene. This would not, the momentum would halt right here for me, I think, if they actually went there. So I was very happy to see this kid alive. Very happy.
Yes, agreed. Same.
I don't know, controversial yet brave opinion. I think they should have went for it.
He just cut to Garland and he's wearing her head as a hat.
Okay.
Just full off. Fully off of it.
That would have worked better, Jay, now that you say it. If he just walked onto the plane with a skin mask of a child.
Yeah.
Then I would be
hacky sack with her head. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's walking around with the head swinging it, like Sweet Home Alabama. He's up there dancing with Sally Can't Dance with the head.
He's delivering his irony line, just with the skin on his face.
He's using her as a
combing
puppet
the hair.
to deliver. She's
combing the hair of the decapitated head. See, if it went that far, it works. But if you never see her again, then it doesn't work.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my goodness. See, you changed my mind, Lindsay. That's, yeah, but it has to go for it. It has to, that movie, I Saw the Devil. they find a body in a lake and they put a head in a box, but then the guy trips and then the head rolls out of the box and just goes right in front of the dad of the woman whose head it is. Like, and it's so disturbing that you kind of laugh because you're like,
Yeah.
they went there.
Yeah.
What's a better scene? He's talking to them about the irony, or he's dancing with Sally Can't Dance?
I don't know. I like the irony line because it made me realize I was like, I don't think I actually know what irony means.
It doesn't mean this.
I've listened to too much Alanis Morissette and watched too many movies to really know what no one can know, honestly. I don't think at the heart of it any of us really know what irony means anymore. And you know what? Maybe we'll never figure it out.
Well, that Alanis Morissette song, like,
nothing is ironic
is there like the guy who never wanted to fly but then flew and then it crashed? That's ironic, right?
Nope.
No? What is that?
Nope. Just bad luck.
Bad luck.
Ironic.
I think it is ironic.
Yeah, it's like, that's pretty ironic. Dude never flew, then he flew and he crashed. Like, that's because there's irony there.
Yeah, there's like a few definitions of irony, is there not?
Well, the one that I think is that what you're doing, you aim to do something, and you doing that thing ultimately causes the opposite effect.
Isn't that exactly the guy on the plane then?
Well, no, because
he aims to like fly. Oh, I guess what you mean is okay. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of one. Like they say, like a clown's funeral is ironic. It's like clowns are supposed to make you happy and it makes you sad. I don't know. But I don't think Garland Green's example is ironic because of the people dancing on a plane to a song made famous by people dying in a plane crash. Firstly, that statement is incorrect. The song was famous before the plane crash. The song came out in 1974. The plane crashed in 77. I've had a Lynyrd Skynyrd day today. Just so you know, this is what I've been doing today is researching this and this plane crash. So the song hit like number 8 on the US charts before the plane crash. It was the most popular like southern rock song, I think was what the description I found for it. So him saying it was made famous by them. But yeah, I don't think.
What if he said made really famous?
I mean, possibly. I'm not sure how to quantify that. But I don't think people dancing to a song sung by people who died in a plane crash whilst they're on a plane is ironic. I think that's just like, that's odd, but not ironic.
I think it just proves that, like Lindsay said, no one really knows what irony is. Like the other Coach Beard got irony wrong on Ted Lasso. Like
no
Jamie,
one can ever know.
Like Jamie called him out for it, and that's insane that Beard didn't know what messed up irony. So it's kind of to each their own.
Okay.
Like a fly landing in my new Chardonnay. That's not ironic. That's just kind of gross.
But most of the things in the ironic song are just bad luck.
Well, isn't it bad luck? That was the original title, and then the producer's like, just switch it to ironic.
There's the comedian Ed Byrne has a whole act about going through the ironic lyrics, and the traffic jam when you're already late is only ironic if you're a town planner. I think it's his line in there. Like it's just somebody being in a traffic jam when they're late. That's not ironic. But if you're the person who designed where the traffic would go, then yeah, that adds some irony to it.
And then that made them late.
Yeah.
That goes too deep. That's
right. Well, the irony that I've found is let's dig into the plane crash, shall we? Let's talk about the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash a little bit because I have a page of notes on the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash. Someone who was supposed to have been on that plane was one of their backup singers. It was Jojo something. Her name was Jojo something. She was not on the plane because she was at a drug rehabilitation center because she was having side effects from substance abuse. So the irony there is doing drugs saved her life because she was supposed to be on there, but she wasn't because she was sick. Anyway, that's the only irony I could find in the situation. But this plane crash is nuts. One of the survivors was Artemus Pyle, who was the Lynyrd Skynyrd drummer. And in 2020, he was heavily involved in the making of the film Street Survivors, The True Story of the Lynyrd Skynyrd Plane Crash. So there's a bunch of podcasts out there with him promoting this film 3 years ago. Listen to one today. It's mainly his side of the story. But so it's there's a whole lot of controversy with this. But his dad was a pilot. His dad died in a plane crash. This guy has been in 3 plane crashes. Which
Wow.
is, like, 1, awful. 3, stop getting in planes.
Is he like
Stop.
Bruce Willis from Unbreakable or something?
I
Is he
think, I
just...
think so. Yeah, there's a Mr. Glass out there trying to cause all this. So, the plane that they got on, shortly before they went on, they flew in it. Aerosmith was supposed to ride in it, and they looked at the plane, met the crew, saw that the crew were sharing a bottle of Jack Daniels prior to a flight. This is the pilots, by the way, and they were like, "Oh, no, thank you," and they turned it down. Lynyrd Skynyrd's team did not do that. Lynyrd Skynyrd's crew were like, "This plane will be fine." They all knew the plane was in bad shape. They were flying to Baton Rouge. They had planned to, at Baton Rouge, either ditch the plane, get a new one, or fix the plane up. They also all knew there was not enough fuel on board to get them to Baton Rouge.
What?
The pilots, the crew, the band, this is all called Artemis Fowl, all according to him. They all knew that there wasn't enough fuel on there, and so when the plane ran out of fuel and crashed, they all were like, "Yeah, this was the plan," pretty much. It's nuts. But then, if you listen to him, he blames their entire staff for like not doing these safety checks, not letting them, having an ulterior motive for maybe wanting to kill the band. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But yeah, it's bizarre that what happened. Like they lost half of the band in this crash. The lead singer Ronnie Van Zant, he was planning to divorce his wife upon landing. He had the divorce papers on the plane, but wasn't able to serve the divorce papers because he died. So she has made so much money off this plane crash by not being divorced, and it's a thing.
Is this a trailer for your like unofficial Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash conspiracy theory podcast you're starting?
Unofficial.
Jay, you wanted to get that off your shoulders. This is the first time that you've just had to read something. You were like, I need to get this out there in the world.
You read that Wikipedia page and you were like, no one's around, but I'm going to be on this phone call and I'm going to let everybody know what I heard.
I mean, I read the Wikipedia page and then sought out a podcast. So that's how far I went.
Oh, man. Well, Aerosmith is smart. I'm glad that they didn't get on there.
But if they got on that plane, the Cons would have been dancing to Walk This Way. That would have been like their biggest song before the plane crash.
Oh gosh.
Or
and then
Dream On? I don't know. Probably danced to Dream On that well.
Everyone on the plane just dancing to Dream On.
Really slowly.
Just kind of vibing on the plane. Skinner, this is a good usage of Skinner. Like, I love him in Devil's Rejects. I remember in Elizabethtown, there's a full-on Freebird performance. They've been... Talladega Nights has some Freebird.
Yeah, Freebird's in 33 different films or TV shows. Sweet Home Alabama, wow. 72. 72. They've never said no, I think.
I mean, it's money, right? It's money each time you do it.
Yeah. Sorry, my biggest thing about the plane crash, the brand of plane was a Convair. Convair was the name of the plane. And then it's in Con Air.
Wait. Really?
Yep.
Whoa.
Plane brand was Convair. Convair CV240. And then they talk about the plane crash in Con Air. It's all connected. I've got a board with strings on it.
This is some Da Vinci Code stuff right here. We need Ron Howard, Tom Hanks to go make this movie.
Jojo Billingsley, that was her name, was the backup singer.
Let's do it. This is a good chapter though because it resets Cyrus the Virus. Because for several chapters he's sort of the cool guy, and then this one you're like, oh no, he's horrible. Like he's always been horrible, but in this one he just straight up shoots Baby O in the chest. So it's kind of nice to have amp up the stakes at this point, and to remind us that he's on a plane with a bunch of killers, because you kind of forget that for a little while.
That's very true about what they because there's only this brief moment of levity on the plane, which is why I also don't mind the song use, because I feel like those people would have used that song in this movie. I do not like the music as a whole on this movie at all. But
wait, the songs or the score or both?
The songs.
Music?
Well, just the songs. I did like the score. It's fine. But yeah, I like Cyrus. I mean, I think that Malkovich is one of the better, like, well, there's so many performances in this. It's so hard for me to get behind Cage in this, but I get it and I don't, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, oh, okay, but every time he talks, it's so funny. Like, it's just hilarious. Like, I want to know more about the dialect coach there, because I'm not really sure what he's doing. But I know this is like not my chapter, but he says toothpaste at one point in the movie, and I like laugh for 40 minutes. But but Cyrus in this scene has one. You guys like mentioned it obviously in your intro, but that line made me like laugh out loud, like very hard when he says, "Now that's clever," because it's so stupid,
Yeah.
and he's supposed to be so like, you know, brilliant. And I was like, what? That is not clever at all, but it was very funny.
That's something we've come to realize, is that he's great at planning things. Like, he's planned this whole thing. When he has time, he's smart. When he's like on the spot, he's awful. Because when he's been locked up in the cage, the guard Falzon has a nice repartee, and Cyrus can just like smile back at him. It's like,
But this is kind of like, this is kind of key for these people, right? That like these characters in movies where it's like, oh, he's got 2 degrees, so like he must be a genius. So I think they kind of play that well, where it's like he thinks he's very smart, and like other people around him buy into that lore, but he's not actually like that smart. He's clearly got a lot of things he doesn't have a lot of foresight for. But I just enjoy the levels of masculinity in this film. And full disclosure, I've been going through the entire Fast and the Furious franchise and I've never seen it before, and
nice.
It's kind of all I want to talk about, similar to
You're
Jay.
on the right show.
Yeah.
Similar to Jay and his Leonard Skinner Wikipedia article, but just I've been
rank them. How would you rank them so far from what you
Oh,
watched?
boy.
Where are you
Okay,
up to?
So I'm on 8. So I've been desperate to watch Hobbs and Shaw because I think I need it as a palate cleanser at this point. I do like them all, but I need some jokes. And I think, okay, so I'm like not finished 8, so I won't count that.
Okay.
I don't even think it's a hot take, but Tokyo Drift might be the best one.
Yeah, you're talking to Mark's your new best friend, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think it might be the best one. It's also, I like in Tokyo Drift that you think, I don't know, like going into it, I was like, 1, I really had low expectations, so perhaps that helped. 2, I was like, okay, cool, they're gonna drift their cars, whatever, right? But like the drifting's pretty funny, cool. Like I really enjoyed watching them do it, and like the mechanics of it, and then the end chase sequence, or the end like downhill race is really fun. And then after that, I don't know, I don't want to say they muddle together, but you know, obviously Vin Diesel is really, you know, building this story, this soap opera. So the plot lines do kind of run together for me. I like when The Rock is introduced later. I think The Rock, it seems very obvious to me why like The Rock and Statham got a spin-off, because it seems like such a breath of fresh air compared to the rest of like what the cast is allowed to do and say. Tyrese and Ludacris, I get it, they get to have their banter. Whether or not it's actually funny is for another debate. But don't you
I agree with you, Lindsay.
Yeah,
I love Roman and I love Tej, but to each their own. These movies are so different, so it's all good.
Roman, my least favorite character in the franchise.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think if I can how I can keep ranking, because I don't like, sometimes I'll remember a sequence and then I don't remember what it's from. But
I love that your ranking is 3 and then the rest. That's such a unique perspective on the franchise. 2
and 3 are my favorite by far. 2 and 3 are my favorite by like a mile, and then it's the rest.
Out. Yeah, it stands out as one of the better like front to back movies as far as that's concerned for me. Because like once they do the heist, which I feel like is 5, is Fast 5 the heist?
Yeah, the heist, the bank heist, the bank vault.
After that, they are given. I know we are not on a Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, we are. Yes,
we often are. It's
okay.
fine.
Yeah.
But like after 5, the funniest thing to me, like the thing I enjoy the most, is that every new installment they just get new skills. Like, no one talks about it. We don't get one line where they just met. You know how easy it would be if like, you know, Ludacris started hacking and they were like, whoa, man, where'd you learn to do that? And he's like, what do you think I've been taking all those night classes for?
Yeah.
Done. Nope. We don't even get that. We don't need that. He just is now a hacker. And that is my favorite part, because every time somebody learns how to fight, I don't know. They could just say Michelle Rodriguez learned it when she was brainwashed, but we don't get that. So, or I'm sorry, she had amnesia.
Yeah.
She just one punch KOing people in the first one.
But the first one's about stolen. The first one's about stolen DVD players as well. Like, compare that to. I almost spoiled the most recent one. But yeah, compare that to the ridiculous heists and saving the world and stuff that they get in the later ones.
Yeah,
doesn't every franchise ever made get more and more insane? Do they all stay?
But I would argue the stakes get bigger, but in this franchise in particular, they imbue them with skills they have never had, nor do they explain them. Like, it happens, it's not even a joke, it happens every time. And then they also, like, change allegiances very, like, without any of our knowledge. We're not really privy to why that happens, nor do we need to be, I suppose, in this universe. They defy physics at one point so substantially
at one point.
I mean, like, I'm saying that, like, I think that when it, like, it really goes over it is the jumping off the bridge. When they go off the bridge and they land, I definitely had to Google, like, how far off the ground can you be before you jump into water and don't die? And then, so, like, after that, it's just like, okay, well, all bets are off, so I can't really look at this through the same lens. And now I'm on 8, and that's the Charlize Theron one. And this one's directed by F. Gary, and I feel like he should really, 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 really direct a Marvel film, because this whole film feels very much like it's an Avengers movie, and he does a good job with it, but it's so jarring that it's like, I don't know, there's a lot going on. But I'm partial to fighting sequences. Like, I like fighting action movies, so like in 8, the prison break is like been a highlight for me. I think that was a really well crafted scene, but again, that was like The Rock and Statham, so I get it. I get why they're so likable. Also, knowing all the behind the scenes beef is really funny to me. I don't know. Okay.
Candy ass.
Go Vin. Listen, Dwayne Johnson was on a bad run going up to Fast 5. Vin brings him into Fast 5, blows him up. And then Dwayne Johnson's calling him out on Instagram a couple films later. It just kills me. And I guess Dwayne said he shouldn't have done that, but he brought a lot of drama into the Fast world. And this is Vin's world. I mean, like, Tom Cruise probably wouldn't allow someone to come in and take over.
I think it is my understanding, though, that Vin Diesel is like a nightmare person, but he makes the studio so much money that they like keep putting the green light up. And it does track that, like, Vin Diesel is constantly, like, not in shape when production starts, and, like, basically it tracks to me that, like, The Rock is on top of it and, like, is annoyed that they have to, like, I've heard he's, like, a massive diva, basically, Vin Diesel. Not that I'm sure they're all very diva-ish, but it seems very funny to me that, like, I think that he did give him a boost, but it's undeniable to me that, like, I would rather watch, like, The Rock do anything than watch Vin Diesel in these, like, I can't handle him in these movies. Like, he can't even give himself like a moment of levity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why I love Roman, like Too Fast, Too Furious. Like Roman and Brian, they're just idiots. Like, they're fighting. He's like, you still fight like crap. You know, like using jujitsu, and like they have a real, like, they're friends. They're like best friends. And at the end of Too Fast, Too Furious, they do a super jump, but then they're too injured to get out of their car. And Eva Mendes has to save them. Like, that's what I kind of like.
I do like when they let Brian do that. I also, like, have a problem that he was in so many movies. This is my problem with Paul Walker, is that he was in so many movies, but, like, in between he didn't decide to, like, take an acting class or, like, you know, learn to be a better actor. I don't know. It really bugs me that, like, he is so wooden and boring. I don't care who knows it. It's just like these people. Okay, sorry. Everybody else is like so charismatic in the cast that it bothers me. Oh
gosh, I think he's great. No. I guess we're just watching different movies, but the same.
He's we're
two completely different people watching the same movie, so we're not gonna have the same exact feeling about it.
But you think Paul Walker is charismatic?
Yeah, like, so watching Running Scared, watching The Hours, like, he's really good at the freak out, and he grounds the movies. I think his athleticism in the movies are really good. I think his kind of aw shucks in the first one works well. In the second one, him and Brian, like Roman, I think have a lot of fun. 4, I think, isn't the strongest all around, so I can't talk about that. But 5, when just like his interactions with Dom, when he talks about being a dad, and then in 6,
Oh boy, that
like,
scene, I had to rewind that scene 30 times when he says, I remember everything about my father. We
Yeah.
laughed so hard at that scene.
barbecues, like helping my sister Mia. Like, I just think what I like about Brian is he grounds it. Like, he's like, while Hobbs is picking people up with one arm, a 250-pound person with one arm, and throwing them into the ceilings in Fast 6, Brian sort of has to scrap and like use jujitsu, and like I think he helped keep the franchise to being absolute utter ridiculousness. So then without his
get any
presence
powers?
there,
Did he like gain powers as the films went on, or did he just kind of stay like a guy?
well, he like in 6, right? In 6, so in the first one he wasn't that great of a driver, but he practiced lots. 2 comes by, he becomes a street racer over the course of a year, because time it takes a little while. Then he goes in 4, which is years later, so he's had time to drive and like become an officer. So he's already skilled by 5. In 6, like, I don't know, there's like a callback to Too Fast, Too Furious, and he knows how to get rid of that thing. But he's never the one who like does the super. I mean, aside from 5, the car surfing, but yeah, he never starts hacking, or he never starts.
6 is the one where he goes back to prison to punch Shea Wiggum in the nose again, I think.
Yeah, and beat up Braga.
That was my first one. That was the first film I saw was 6. I really, that's the one that starts off with like this recap of the previous 5 films. I really appreciated that. That's my first
No, he's good. Like, he takes down, like in the first one, he uses jujitsu in the Fast and Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious, he uses, like, he has to like use jujitsu to beat villains in it.
Yeah.
So
Look, I'm not going to argue with you about the character. I'm going to argue with you that Paul Walker as an actor is like watching a board. Like, he's not. I'm trying to be nice, but I think he's like very for the like little he has to do. Like, he's good looking, but like that's maybe the extent of where it stops for me. Is like, I'm just like, this guy can't emote at all. Like, when he gets to be silly, it's the best, but it's almost jarring seeing him laugh, because you're like, what's happening now? It's like seeing the animatronic like wig out for a second. I don't know. That's how
you can tell he loves Tyrese, because like their scenes together, like in 6 when he calls him the blonde and they just laugh, like those. Yeah, it's nice when he can cut loose. But I think Vin definitely likes these things to be a little bit more serious.
I think Vin likes himself to be serious. Like, I think he has a very distinct idea of what who Dominic Toretto is. But the fact that it like he never strays from it maybe it's just the problem with like binging them all. So like if you're watching them in a singular movie, it maybe is like a little bit more like consumable. But when you're watching it like all together, you're like, man, this guy's a lot.
And you know what though? I think I just I'm watching them now and have to analyze every single NOS usage, every single gear shift, every single butt shot, every fight, every theft. So I've had to like pull all the data from all the Fast movies. And I definitely learned that I like the earlier ones better, but 4 is not great.
Yeah, 4 I don't remember very much.
Yeah.
I'm a defender of 4. I really liked 4 when I've only seen it once.
What happens? What happens in 4?
It's like the reboot where Letty dies, they introduce Han. I remember seeing Han for the first time, and I was like so happy. Also, I love Justin Lin, the director. But then
I like Justin Lin too, and I miss Han.
They go undercover.
Han was a grounding character that had charisma, not Paul Walker.
In 5, him and Giselle. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
When he's crying about Giselle in 6. Ugh.
And also, I'm sorry, am I supposed to believe that so everything happens before Tokyo Drift, but the scene in Tokyo Drift I remember is like he's like, I'm driving to get girls, and that's like right after she dies, right?
Yeah.
Circle back around after you've seen 9.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's just given up, I think, in Tokyo Drift, and then he finds Lucas Black as a guy to like kind of take under his wing. Maybe he reminds him of his old crew. So I think that gives him a purpose again.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's straight up like womanizing in Tokyo Drift.
And also like, not that it should be expected, but just they could give like okay, Michelle Rodriguez is like obviously like an insanely capable action star, but her plot lines are so sad. Like they're so upsetting. They can't like she doesn't feel like a member of the team. It's just like they have her around, and like for 3 movies she can't remember what she's doing. So it's just terrible to like, it's upsetting to watch that. And then I feel the worst by far for like Jordana Brewster's character, who they show can race, and like then they're just like, nope, she's never allowed to join us ever again, and she's just completely sidelined. And then eventually they're just like, yeah, you can't, like, you just can't come back because Paul Walker can't come back.
The nice thing about 9 is she gets a big old kitchen fight, and her and Letty just drive a lot.
Oh, she's in 9?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And so she gets a big time kitchen fight. And like she's actually like a fighter now. That's her new skill.
Okay.
So yeah. And then she wasn't written into 10, but Vin Diesel's like, we need her.
Of course.
And so then they wrote her in, and then Justin Lin quit, and then they brought in Louis Leterrier, the guy who directed The Transporter. Maybe that's why Statham's back.
Yeah, another thing, Justin Lin quit and basically said that the movie wasn't worth his mental health. I think that Vin Diesel is the problem. I'm just gonna say it.
I do like the franchise in spite of Vin Diesel, and Louis Leterrier is the reason why I'm not necessarily looking forward to Fast 10, because I don't think he's a good director. But yeah, Vin Diesel, someone needs to sit him down and say it's okay for your character to lose a fight now and then.
Right, exactly.
It's like, it gets when you get to 9, it gets ridiculous. The fights he's not losing.
It's also frustrating because I know that Vin Diesel is charismatic. If that makes like in other
Pitch
things.
Black, right? Like remember him back in the day?
And he has one scene where he gets like mad about his daughter, and it's so brief, but he like, you know, has this like scream, this like guttural, and I'm like, there you go. Like, we just want to see anything. I want to see him have any emotion other than like just stoic, weird hero guy that never changes. Because there's been so many movies, there's a chance for some growth there, and it doesn't have to be wildly out of character.
You're gonna like this. I have a Data article coming out because I was like, well, I'm going through all the Fast movies. I might as well watch every Vin Diesel movie and see how many sleeveless shirts he wears in each of them and catalog the different variations.
Oh, please, yes.
And so, because you know, he started off in the 90s with like he was selling toys with sleeveless shirts, and in his movie Strays he had sleeveless. Like that's his whole gimmick. So I charted how many there are in each one, what color they are, and I have some really good data coming out soon about his sleeveless shirts in his movies.
Oh, I can't wait, because that's we look for that. So,
how would you rank Nicolas Cage's sleeveless shirt wear, like with his shoulders exploding out of that tank top in this movie? How would you rank it?
I think he looks pretty great body wise in this. I do think it's like a crime, like whoever made him, like this is actually very similar to how I feel about Vin Diesel, in that neither of them have like any sex appeal, in my opinion. Like, it's absurd. It's like only a straight man would look at it and be like, yeah, okay, this guy, sure. Because like it's similar to how I feel about Nick Cage. When I see Vin Diesel have any sort of romantic scene with someone, I just feel so bad for them.
I say, get away.
Yeah, like I'm just like, man, they're really giving it their all. And like in Nick Cage, I know this is like, again, not my scene, but when he has to like kiss Monica Potter on the dance floor, it's so upsetting, you know?
So we had a guest recently who said this is the hottest Nick Cage has ever been, is in this film.
I'll agree with that. I'm not going to say that. I mean, I'll say this is the hottest he's probably ever been, but, you know, still.
But that's not saying much. Okay.
It's not saying much, exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are there any action stars you would say have sex appeal?
Oh, I mean, I think most.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, through it, like, okay, who are we going to, like, if we pick a franchise or something, absolutely anybody else in the cast of Fast and the Furious, all of them. Tyrese is hot, Ludacris is hot, The Rock is hot, Statham's hot, and he's, you know, they all look good. All the villains are good. Like, yeah, no, I mean, I think that there are very specific people that it's just like, oh, interesting. It's undeniable that, like, Nick Cage has, like, an on-screen presence that is, like, impossible to ignore and insanely watchable. So I'll give it that, but I don't think sex appeal is a part of it.
That's interesting. I guess you're right. He's just sort of Cameron Poe in this movie.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because, I mean, I don't think it's a movie that was made for that. I think it was a movie that was made, you know, like, for men.
How do you feel about the entire subplot of insulin and then Baby O just gets shot?
Well, you know, they had to have you care about. I like how we don't, like, it's just like immediately when we meet him. Also, he's like mopping the floor, which I could never figure out. But it's like, oh, that's how we know we're supposed to care for him. That's my favorite part. Yeah, my favorite part about this movie is like there are no ifs, ands, or buts. We're just gonna show it all like right away if you think this guy is like cool or not cool, so you can make your way out through the movie. And then at the end when we do like a little like here's who everybody is in the movie, that's my favorite part because I'm like they're showing these people like they were all like look at these like little scoundrels, but they're all like terrible criminals.
These little rapscallions.
Yeah.
But they're...
It's not quite the Predator ending where they were like smile at the camera.
Yeah.
I love that ending. Oh my gosh. And listen, can we spend some time? We did it, but like that's clever. Can we focus on this? Can we just
like it's clever.
Like that? No, that's like why?
It in the script? Did he ad-lib it? What do you guys think? Like what is the thing?
I'll look for the script. You guys.
Okay.
He shoots him. No, that's clever. Like it's such a weird thing. Like I feel like he prepares all of his lines.
You know what
Cyrus
it's like though? You know why it like is so funny? Because it's like when someone goes, hey, I don't really want to do that, and someone goes, man, I don't really want to do that. Like that's the energy. Like the energy is like, no, that's clever, or like, no, like it's such a throwaway that's like so out of character, or like it's not funny and or it's not like smart and elevated in the way that he's supposed to be, that it comes across so funny.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Because yeah. Oh,
now, in the script, Baby says, "That's right, clever her," and Cyrus's response is, "Perhaps, if having a bullet in your chest is clever." And he raises his gun at Baby-O and Poe's like, "No!" And then Cyrus shoots Baby-O.
Okay, what ends up in the movie is way better.
Wait, why is having a bullet in your chest clever?
Yeah, it doesn't. That's worse.
Well, no, is he saying you're being clever and now you're shot? Is that what he's saying?
I think he's just picking up on a word Baby-O said and using that in his retaliation.
You're stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
You're stupid.
Exactly.
I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah.
I love it too. Like I love when Guard Falzon just short circuits him in the cage. He has no reply to him. Yeah, and then in this one he's like, no, that's clever. So like we're watching Cyrus we're watching like he has some chips in in his paint job. Like I can't think of a better term, but like he's not almighty like Hans Gruber, I guess. He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Well, he's not. He doesn't like being bullied, does he? Like when Faison's too fast for him, he can't handle it. When Baby-O calls him a bitch, he's probably not used to that. Like imagine being a bully, then someone calls you that. You're like, wait, people don't talk to me like that. Like what? And then I guess you just thump him like Cyrus does.
Yeah,
but yeah,
shoots him. Yeah.
What were his crimes again?
Who?
Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus. He brags that he's killed more men than cancer.
Cyrus.
He's like broken out of prison a bunch of times. He's done it all, is what they say. He's done everything.
Right. So he killed a bunch of people, went to jail, and then he was like he killed some people in like a prison break or something, right? Like is that why they say he's like the virus because they can't stop him?
Yeah.
He just spreads.
Yeah. Okay.
Malkovich, yeah, he just spreads his virus all over the place, and you can't stop him. That sounds gross.
Yeah, that does sound really gross.
Also, I do appreciate Danny Trejo just hanging there during the entire scene.
No one's helping him. No one's unlocking. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, the rapist is tied up. That's fine. We can leave him there. That's okay.
And he's still acting too. If you watch him, he's like, oh, like he's doing a lot more than what he should, being hung up in the air like that. But I guess if you're Danny Trejo in '97 and you're standing next to John Malkovich and Ving Rhames, who are on fire at the time, you're gonna just, hey, this is better than prison, like real prison. I'll just hang here next to John Malkovich and listen to him deliver kind of not great dialogue, and I'll just sort of hang out, literally.
So, Mark, you're a big fan of the extras dancing on the boat in Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah.
How do you compare that to the cons dancing here?
Oh man, Ty Granderson-Jones, friend of the pod, he's crushing it. Like I love his moves, and he pulls the cigar up. Like he realizes he has some screen time. He's milking it. I absolutely think that Renoli Santiago's crushing it. And then like Conrad's just chilling, sort of, not really
Okay.
dancing too much. I do
Conrad's
appreciate.
being awful. Conrad's spitting beer at one of the guards who's tied
Oh
up
yeah, he is.
and throwing a cigarette. I hate Conrad.
He's going full Unbreakable.
He had a little paragraph of dialogue in this chapter that get cut out. I'm kind of glad about that. I don't like him at all.
And Emilio Rivera's dancing, like he's doing just fine. It's a good scene. It works. I remember laughing when I was 15 years old at Steve Buscemi delivering that line. Like I didn't think about irony, but it's rare when you have just a serial killer wearing a tiny baby head on his head and making comments like that to a jacked up Nicolas Cage. So yeah, that line actually really worked for me in 97.
Well, in the script, Sally Can't Dance is supposed to be wearing an air stewardess uniform that she'd found. So, which they changed to a dress.
Where would you find that?
Well, yeah, that doesn't make any kind of sense because like she would have found it on. Well, I guess they were at an airport. They've just been at an airfield, so they might have been, but it's not really the kind of airfield where you would have.
Yeah, this isn't Lufthansa hanging around.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
I guess that works though, but you change that. Like you don't need it.
Yeah, it's fine this way. I love that Cyrus turns off the stereo with the gun.
Yeah, I wrote that in my note.
Nice little moment. Yeah,
I bolded that. That's some skill.
Yeah. How many takes do you reckon that took? You keep missing
one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Malkovich. He doesn't.
Do we think Diamond Dog was sent on a mission from Cyrus to rub through the boxes and try and find who the traitor was? Or he hadn't been down there yet to look through their stuff and he was doing it again? Well, actually, he went down there and found the sunglasses initially, so he's just down there going through the boxes again. This is the second time going through.
I think there was just some downtime, so he was like, let's see what we got going on down here.
He's like, I don't like this song, I'll do something else.
Yeah.
Till my jam comes on, yeah.
And then we get the famous line at the end.
Well, we're not even there yet. Man.
You're right.
Like when Dog gives Cyrus the letter, they both just look. They look at Poe and Poe looks back, and it's all like everyone knows. Because they have to suspect Poe. They have to. They look straight at him.
I would think.
So when Baby O like volunteers himself and takes the blame, does Cyrus believe that? Does he want to shoot a guy?
I mean, he called him bitch. Like, I feel like Cyrus is on a plane, and he's Cyrus the Virus. So you come at him like that on a plane, and he's the leader of a bunch of cons. You got to take him out.
Yeah.
So even though he knows, like, you're near death the entire time. You're dead. You didn't do this, but you insulted me, so it's over. And he knows it's Poe.
I like that. Someone alerted all the authorities of Carson City. Someone informed them of our Le rendezvous. Someone even killed poor Billy Bedlam. This could all be a coincidence. Like, no.
And then Steve Buscemi was like, actually, it's ironic.
And then the rest of the movie's them arguing about whether it's ironic or not. Like, what's the definition?
Semantics.
You know what I want to talk about is the letter. So I really the daughter's letter. I love this letter, right? The repeating the date 3 times.
July 14th.
It seems like it was written by the girl, like a girl that age, okay? And every other correspondence we are to believe that this child is having with her dad is like elevated beyond how I know how to write. You know what I mean? Like, it's like she's supposed to be like, I think, going into 1st grade, and I'm like, when did I learn how to read? Because she's writing
8.
some novels in the beginning.
Yeah,
but
she's 8 years old.
But not when she starts correspondence.
No, sorry, at the time of this letter.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Is somehow I feel like her learning has somehow regressed, and now we are getting the letter that sounds like it would be written by an 8-year-old. Like, my dad is coming home on this day. My birthday is this day. I will see him on this day. It just cracks me up every time I read it.
Okay, maybe she didn't just write this letter this year. Maybe this is like looking ahead. Like, my dad's going to be released on July 14th in 4 years. So she just didn't. She just left off the year.
Oh, like maybe it's okay. All right,
she wrote it in 1993. So.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
Whoa.
That's why it's so special.
I've just seen Jurassic Park. My daddy's coming home on July 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just Trisha. I don't know. Maybe she's just. I don't know. That's a good point. Maybe Trisha just wrote the letters in the beginning as like a ghostwriter.
But they have a young child narrate them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
that's her.
when
Maybe she's good at voices.
that's Monica Potter. So when Cyrus, speaking of voices, when Cyrus reads out the letter in the little girl voice, that was a surprise to the rest of the cast. That wasn't planned. He filmed it a few times, not reading it in that way, and then he did it in that way, and it's so great.
That's funny.
It does lead. I agree with the kind of Matt Damon acting with him on Wilder's story of like he's not a good actor. He just says things in a funny way to amuse himself.
I mean, his accent in Rounders is crazy.
Yes, it is.
That's the reason the movie works, though. But when he does that voice, it's just so. I wrote excellent reading. Like it's so sarcastic and it's so just it's kind of scary and it's perfect. It's like why you hire Malkovich for this type of movie. He nails that reading. It makes me happy. He really does. And then why? Okay, so make a move and the buddy gets it. He's saying that to Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they still don't know that that's definitely Poe's box, or do they know that's Poe's box?
That was a lot of rhyming. They still don't know that Poe's has the. Oh, never mind.
They must know that's Poe's box because that's how Billy Bedlam knew. So they know that the bunny is Poe. The letter was in Poe's box. This should not have been a mystery. Who is this? They would never have got out of his bloody box.
What if Poe put everything in Viking's box? No, I didn't do it.
It's that guy, the guy with the tour guy. He did it. Yeah. I just read that when the cable was hooked around the pillar, this is in the previous chapter, and they shot it off. In the script, they didn't shoot it. Diamond Dog rushed out and unhooked it and got back on the plane again. I don't know why I find that amusing. Just like Stingray was just hopping off a plane and getting on just in time. Instead of just having four guys shooting a concrete pillar to Swiss cheese.
That's no Gouda. Nah, I don't know. Would Ving Rhames be a good movie runner?
Not these days.
You mean like physically?
Say. Yeah, 97. Would you want to see him run?
No. He's too muscle, you know?
Yeah,
the muscle guys can't run. Like, it's just funny.
I'm not taking a shot at Dwayne Johnson, but there's a scene in The Fate of the Furious
when
he starts running away.
I know exactly the moment you're like that's like where you're like, okay, that's his weakness. Like they need to exploit these things because like that's actually why I really like the Prison Break, because like you obviously one-on-one like Jason Statham is not going to be able to beat up The Rock, but like the idea that like Statham is agile and like he's like brute force, it's fun.
Yeah. And he does do that weird slide though with The Rock, and he bounces off the fence and lands on the ground.
Another laugh out loud for me. I absolutely love that.
I think it proves that in this world, the fast world, cartilage is just much stronger.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't real.
and John Cena, Jay, in 12 rounds, his running. I love John Cena, but big guys, huge guys should not run.
The big guys can't run.
You kind of want the Indiana Jones music to start playing when the boulder's rolling. That's what it's like reminiscent.
That's why I think Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, like Wesley Snipes, the lither guys are better at running.
Yeah, I actually think even like the reason I know like Tom Cruise is so synonymous with it, but like just everything about his build is more like he looks more natural running. Like I would even argue that like Keanu Reeves is a little bit lanky. You know what I mean? Like he can still do a run, but like nobody does it like a shorter athletic build like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he can run.
That's
got for sure.
Yeah, he's got that on lock. So
he makes me tired when he runs. So you know it's good.
Yes, yeah.
Who do you think's the best runner in the Con Air cast?
Ooh, good question.
Well, we saw Cindino taking it across the airfield recently to get to his plane, and he had a very T-1000 kind of robotic straight limbs run. He was sprinting.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going for the shorter guy, then I reckon Blade, Tiger Anderson-Jones might be a decent runner. The guy with a cigar in this chapter.
Yeah, I can see that.
I want to see Cole Meany do a running scene.
Yeah.
Like a Jason Bourne running scene with Cole Meany.
Cusack did some good running. And he's
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
a giant. He's wearing a sail, so he's like
Yeah.
going to fight against that.
Yeah.
You get picked up in the wind and just sort of. Yeah, you know what? I'm going Cusack because he's running in Birkenstocks.
He outran. Yeah, he outran a plane wearing a giant suit of Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
I want to see John Cusack play basketball because I feel like he could dunk it.
I feel like he would be okay at basketball. That's
Right?
a weird thing, but I totally understand what you're saying.
Who wins, Sandler or Cusack in a game of 21?
Sandler probably.
Oh.
He knows how to play, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I guess Cusack just has a lot of athleticism because he's like a black belt in karate, but he doesn't have the form that Sandler does.
Yeah.
That's probably the most important question I've ever asked.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
It's a thinker for sure.
So I like that the bunny is back in the box when we reach for the letter. That makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like that we had a few of these in recent scenes. Just a shot of MC Gainey being a pilot. It's just like looking out the window, looking concerned as the plane takes off. And I just like to think they spent that's like an hour with him in the cockpit, just like, okay, look out the window this way, and then look angry, look okay, just do that, and they just those bits in when they needed them in the past few minutes.
Bird attack.
It's believable that he's flying a plane, I guess. He's not. That's the only thing we get in this chapter is he's just there flying the plane. He's the pilot. That's what he does. So did you know that Sweet Home Alabama was like a diss song? It was like a part of a beef, a musical beef with Neil Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. It's like the mildest feud in music history, pretty much. Like Neil Young made the song Southern Man and Alabama, which allegedly accused all Southerners of being responsible for slavery. And Ronnie Van Zant was like, no, and they released Sweet Home Alabama, where it's like, it's basically hashtag not all Southerners is what this song is.
It's got that energy.
But then Neil Young heard this song and thought about his lyrics and thought, yeah, you're right. My songs were a bit hard and a bit ambiguous. And so they were collaborating on more music when Ronnie Van Zant died. So it's like a real mild feud that they resolved and they could have been albums together and stuff afterwards. I just find that like nice, I guess, apart from Lynyrd Skynyrd have way too many Confederate flags in all of their artwork from my liking. So let's gloss over that and move on.
What do you mean?
They have a lot of Confederate flags on their albums and things.
I was joking.
Okay, it's a bad flag, Lindsay. I don't like it.
But yeah, it's nice to see a feud kind of like squashed.
Resolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like
Those two going to war would not be pretty.
Yeah, I'm just like too cynical that all feuds are actually just orchestrated to like eventually have the collaboration in the end.
Oh, is that why we're starting this? Like, we're gonna start a Fast and Furious feud on this show, and then we'll collab later.
Exactly.
On a Fast and Furious show.
Yeah. No,
and then just yell at each other for every episode.
I would love to. Yeah, exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, people orchestrate feuds.
That doesn't sound like fun to me, though. I'd rather just chat with somebody for an hour as opposed to argue.
So would I. But I mean, I'm talking like celebrity feuds. But I like to debate people too and argue. But that's why I like film podcasting, because even if you have a very different opinion, nobody takes it personally, and at the end of the day, you're all buds. You know?
Unless you're talking about
the Lynyrd Skynyrd flag.
Yeah. Or unless you hate Deep Blue Sea. No, actually, we had people who didn't like Deep Blue Sea, and I'm still good friends with
Valentine. He doesn't like Con Air either. We're 2 for 2.
I guess when you become an adult, you realize that there's billions of people on this planet who are all different, and we all look at movies differently and watch them differently and at different times.
Exactly.
Different situations. So when you become 40 and someone disagrees with the movie thought about you, you're like, that's cool. It's all good. It's fine. Like, I guess I was never like that when I was younger, though. I don't think I ever got annoyed at people for not liking a movie. I was never that movie guy.
I mean, I like to fight about it, but I like in like a fun way. You know what I mean? Like, meaning like, I want you to explain to me why you like something. What'd you say? I like hearing, like, when people are passionate about something, I want somebody to be able to like explain why, if that makes sense. So I enjoy hearing like a totally different perspective than my own. Maybe it won't change minds. Maybe it will change minds. But I like it in a low stakes situation like this.
It's the other day. So there's that movie Operation Fortune that came out, the Guy Ritchie movie, super breezy, like whatever.
Yeah,
Room to go, is it?
Yeah.
I started watching it last night, but then I fell asleep, and then I was like, oh, I gotta pick back up. Is it any good? Should I watch it?
I mean, it's super breezy. It's like very low stakes and just sort of pleasant. Like there's nothing. It's Guy Ritchie light. It's just kind of nice. But like someone goes, like they message me like, do you really like that movie or are you just joking? I'm like, I was like, no.
Was it Justin?
No, I was like, if you look at it in context, it's just a breezy spy caper, and I'm cool with breezy spy capers. Like you can't look like they're like it's not as good as Snatch. I'm like, yeah, but like what is? Like he came out of that movie was huge. Like that movie wasn't as good as Jurassic Park. Well, what is? So like I think he just during the pandemic wanted to make a spy thriller, and has Aubrey Plaza and Bugsy Malone and that Hugh Grant being cheeky. Like that's all I need, and a jet ski. So, but yeah, I gotta you didn't really like that, and I got a little annoyed by that. I'm not gonna lie. I was very pleasant with my response, but my blood level rose a little, like my blood pressure rose. Not my blood level, that'd be weird. You get angry, you get more blood.
It's not making more blood. It's coming out everywhere.
Mark just exploded. But yeah, no, someone did say that to me.
Did they say it meaning like, oh, you couldn't possibly have actually liked this movie? Like
yeah, like
the movie. Like that was the reading. Yeah,
like this movie sucks. Is what they're saying. Like, you didn't really like it, did you? You were just being sarcastic.
Oh my goodness.
It's like, it's just, I'm just sitting there eating a cookie, and I get this message. It's just wrecked my cookie.
Yeah,
it's like in Pitch Perfect when they wrecked the taste of that guy's beer by their singing.
I do not remember that part at all.
No, I've seen that film a bunch of times. I don't remember what you're talking about.
This guy, he goes, they're making my beer taste bad.
That's like one of those like very tiny lines that like you remember and it cracks you up, and I totally forgot that line.
Yeah, I don't know why that hit on me so hard, but I like that line. It was good. Perhaps I've been in some terrible bands that probably have made beer taste terrible, so I can relate.
I get you.
Yeah. No Skinner covers though, Jay.
No, it's good to hear. No, Freebird's been done enough, I think. I've got it paused on everyone's reactions to Cyrus having shot Baby-O, and like Johnny 23 is woken up and looks terrified. Diamond Dog looks like annoyed and angry, and Viking is just like looks like the dumbest person in the world.
He looks like he's all about it, doesn't he? Doesn't Viking kind of like, whoa? Oh yeah, that look, Jay. You're right.
He looks like he's been partaking in some substances. He's just not present in this situation.
At 2:10, if you have the clip.
That's exactly where I am. Moment.
I just want this to be my wallpaper on my computer now.
Just a really angry John Malkovich looking at
you. Good sweat work in the back by Conrad. Who's getting the Sweat Bucket Award, Jay?
I think it could still be Conrad. We give Lindsay. We give the Sweat Bucket Award to the sweatiest person in each chapter. Film.
It's got to be a tough call each
It often is. I mean, it's been Baby-O for most of them, but he's fine now. He had some very fast working insulin because he is up and ready to go.
Yeah, he was he was sweating this movie.
So like Paige is pretty sweaty. Conrad is like still sweated through. He's got a long sleeve athletic grey top on, so it's just sweat is going to be all over him.
It's not a grey top. It was once white.
Then it's definitely he's got a light coating of sweat everywhere and a heavy coating of sweat down his chest. So yeah, Conrad still gets it then for this one, I think. And we have 12 cons in the air in this scene. We're still at 12 cons in the air. Which is something I'm keeping track of. That number will go down soon.
There's no sweat on Garland Green, Jay. There's no perspiration.
Yeah, he's juror number 3, 4, the one who doesn't sweat in 12 Angry Men. The one with the glasses. PG Marshall. Good. Well, Lindsay, did you have any more thoughts on this scene or Con Air as a whole?
I feel like we went through most of my notes, but the movie's so fun. Like it's a classic, obviously. You guys are doing minute by minute. There's a lot to talk about. There couldn't be a better movie to talk about scene by scene than Con Air, I think.
Yeah.
Hey,
or Deep Blue Sea. Oh, that is my only other note I didn't mention on here is that I drew, for my notes, I wrote Con Air, and then I drew a little plane, and I realized that because I do not know how to draw, when I draw a plane, it kind of also looks like a shark.
Nice.
So.
That's the mashup we need.
That's just bringing it all together.
Blue SE. Yeah.
Can you draw that and we'll use it as a new logo?
Oh heavens, no.
We'll merge two podcasts together. Yeah. Great. Well, thank you for joining us, Lindsay. Do you have anything you want to plug?
No, just no.
Everyone say hi to Ellie in the background.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear her? My apologies.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll mute.
You're okay. Great.
Dogs are welcome.
Mine are often. Yeah. French this Sunday. Any plans? Anytime soon?
You really put me on the hot seat.
I asked the same thing to Jess and Nick every time they were on, and their answer was always yes, soon. And
Is that what they say? They're cute. They're so cute of them. I'm glad they're saying that. We're trying. We definitely are trying.
Jess was on Deep with Sea talking about the Lighthouse recently, and she was like, I promise episodes this year." I was like, "Yeah, you said that like the past 2 years."
Yeah, I started listening to that episode, but I haven't seen the movie, so I had to pause.
Oh, I think you'd enjoy the Lighthouse.
Yeah, I have every intention. I just, it was like I missed it when it came out, so I'll get around.
A lot of great farts.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Willem Dafoe farting up a storm.
I think that Willem Dafoe. Oh, I don't want to start a fight at the end of the podcast. All right, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
I'll tell you after air.
Can I want to hear it. Let's put it on air and let listeners mull it over, and then I don't know if this is true or not. And this became like a thought in my head when I was like trying to figure something out. It's a long story. Like it was like a puzzle, and I was like, oh, who's this actor? And I was like trying to figure it out. But is like Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich actually like terrible actors, but they just are like just weird enough that you are like, oh no, they're actually good actors? Does this make sense to you guys? Have you watched Florida Project?
I have not seen that, so that is.
Same.
He's like super normal in that one, Dafoe. So
do you think he's good in it?
Yeah, like okay. He's like some sometimes you can get by on like being Willem Dafoe or Malkovich. Yeah. Exactly. Like this one's he's another dude in that movie. So I think that's one to watch if you're.
What's Malkovich's most normal performance? I genuinely can't think of one.
Most normal performance.
He's most like his everyman role.
Like in Red, he's gnarly.
He's like got PTSD in Red. He's off his rocker a little bit.
Yeah, and we cannot say Rounders.
Can't say Rounders.
Not being John Malkovich.
No, definitely not.
Not in the Line of Fire.
Not of Mice of Men.
Like, has he done a role where it's like, yeah, like I could go for a drink with him?
He did a movie with Tyrese called Rogue Hostage, but I haven't seen that.
Like Bird Box, maybe, but he's barely in it.
Yeah, I don't remember him too much in that.
He's in Deepwater Horizon.
That's playing a real person. So I guess you could say that one.
Yeah. Warm Bodies. He's the kind of dad.
Yeah, he's not like normal, but he's like not. He's not too wild in that.
He's like Dadkovich.
Yeah, not
Burn After Reading? No,
I can't remember.
Burn After Reading.
I genuinely can't remember who he plays in Burn After Reading.
He's Oswald.
I mean, I see the name. I just don't know what he's doing.
I love when he pops Brad Pitt in the face.
Yeah, he's the guy who he's looking for his like his memoir.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. Okay.
And Knockaround Guys, he's BPEP's dad, which has Vin Diesel in it. Yeah, and so he's a gangster and Knockaround Guys, and he likes to just eat food and drink wine. So like, if you're not worried about maybe owing the mob money, you could hang out with him.
He plays Javert in the TV show of Les Mis. That sounds like an odd casting.
All right, so I'm gonna say, he's in the Glass Menagerie. That's a really good adaptation. That's
not Dangerous Liaisons.
I'm gonna go with the one where not dad. You know what? I'm gonna do Warm Bodies because I just want to have him talk about fortifying a city from zombies. That's like my life dream.
I'm gonna say he's never played normal. That's what he's tried every project he's done to be like a normal person and failed every time.
Normal-ish.
Is this how normal people talk?
I gotta watch Rogue Hostage now, which is a weird word for like it's him and Tyrese, and they're in a movie together.
That sounds like a film you should have seen by now, Mark. I'm disappointed in you.
Michael Jai White's in it.
I do love Tyrese.
You should
Yeah,
be watching
he's
this
the best.
now.
We hungry. Pockets ain't empty, cuz.
Okay. And Defoe, I mean, I haven't seen the Florida Project, so I guess I'd take your word for at least normal in that.
All right, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Defoe, Malkovich, the stars of Too Fast, Too Furious.
I would watch them, obviously. My question is, like, they're both watchable, sure. But, like,
Yeah,
are they actually, like, good actors? Do you know what I mean by this?
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm being, like, a little facetious, but, like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, are they actually good? You know what I'm saying?
Send us a message, everyone, if you hear this, and let us know, and we'll read them
Yeah.
out during the episode.
And I'm not taking a side. I'm just saying, I'm just posing a question. I'm just putting it out there.
I feel like I'm
Defoe
Team Defoe.
is he's oddly normal in Aquaman. He's like a strangely
Oh,
normal
yeah.
guy.
But this
in
is what
Aquaman.
okay, but you're illustrating my point, is that when he's normal in these things, I don't remember anything about the performance. Do you get what I'm saying?
Watch
Yeah.
the Florida Project.
Okay, I will
Okay,
certainly
will
watch
do.
that, because that has been on a watch list. So
Yeah, because then he's really warm and nice, and
Okay.
just he's very Florida in it. I grew up in Florida, and I feel like I know that movie, and he
Okay.
seems like a Florida dude.
Cool. All right, that's a good recommendation. Then I will definitely watch that.
All right.
He's a normal guy in Inside Man as well. Anyway, Mark, any plugs?
Yeah, just Nick Rehak, the member of or part of the French Toast Sunday crew, he and I recorded an episode about movie posters that feature the characters in terrible predicaments. So he picked 3 movie posters, I picked 3 movie posters where the characters are certainly going to die, and we just chatted about it for 50 minutes. And I would say about 17 minutes of it is laughing, but the other 33 minutes are pure gold. So yeah, listen to that. Movie Songs of Flicks.
It is the next podcast in my queue. Wonderful. Listeners, you could go and listen to Mark and I over on Deep Blue Sea, the podcast. Lindsay was on for a chapter of Deep Blue Sea, and she was on to talk about Ghost Ship. A wonderful episode, a wonderful film, a wonderful scene of people being cut up. We'll have to get you back on again sometime soon for some other film that you want to talk about.
Yes, please.
And you can read the occasional things that I write over at lifeversusfilm.com and hear me hosting Lampardy over on the Lampcast once a month. The Lampcast over there, doing that. Movie trivia, fun times. So great. Thank you once again to our guest, Lindsay Street, for Chapter 33 of Con Air. I have been Jay Cluett.
Now Mark Hoffmeyer.
Come back next week or the bunny gets it.
Sigh.
And Nora!